Oh, hey. Didn't see you there. I'm Chanterelle.
And I'm Lumen, and we're hilarious.
Today we're going to be talking about insects and invertebrates. It's going to be super fun. But first, like I said, I'm Chanterelle. My favorite things in the whole world is going out and exploring in nature. It's my favorite thing to do, and we're going to do a bunch of that today. I'm super excited. I guess a little bit more about me. My favorite food is tortilla. And anything that you put in a tortilla. Does not matter what it is, I will eat it as long as it is inside of a tortilla. Is my favorite.
Anything?
Anything. Even like dirt, invertebrates, I don't know. Whatever it is.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm Lumen. A few things about me is that I, every morning, have a bagel with cream cheese and tapatio on it. It is so good. And I also love to climb trees. I love to roll around in the dirt. And I also love exploring new things. And other than a bagel with cream cheese and tapatio, my favorite sandwich in the whole world is a piece of whole wheat bread, some crunchy peanut butter, some dill pickles, a piece of Swiss cheese, a little mayonnaise, and then another piece of bread. And at home, you can hold it up to the light and say, "Ah," because I just changed your lives. And just before we really get into things, this is the last day of Outdoor Ed Live, but we will be here next week too, so that's exciting. And your naturalist skills don't end with the live stream. You can take all the things you've learned this week to go and explore and learn new things.
Yeah. Since we're going to be exploring so much today, we want to limber up a little bit, stretch out. And since we're looking for invertebrates and bugs and insects and all that good stuff, we have some invertebrate stretches for us. All right, my first stretch is going to be the worm. Just wiggle around, get real loose.
Tubular segmented body.
They're tubes. They are tubular. I'm sort of dizzy after that. Anybody else?
I got one.
Ooh, cool.
Ruth, what you got?
This is called the water bug. Water bug.
Whoa.
Water bug. Water bug. Yes. Water bug. Water bug. Water bug. Last time.
Make sure you're stretching at home with us.
Nice.
Yeah.
Woo. Poppy looks like she's itching to give us one.
Yeah, Pop.
Yep.
All right. Go in for something more like, the praying mantis.
Oh.
You gotta.
Oh,
Just like
nice.
that.
With that
And then-
noise?
yeah. Yep. And the other like. Faster. I think that's all I got.
One more.
One more. Who's got it?
Jolo.
All right.
Hazel's got one.
Hazel, thanks.
This one's a little similar to the water bug, but a little different. It's called the roly-poly.
The roly-poly.
You're going to get really small like a roly-poly does. And then you're going to wiggle around.
Wow, this is
What's the noise?
almost identical to the
And
water bug,
wiggle.
really.
Oh,
Wiggle, wiggle.
how about a
Whoop.
Oh, nice.
Whoop. There it is.
one more? Nice.
All right.
Thanks.
So you guys, part of the reason that we're talking about invertebrates today is that I had a really strange experience with
You're going to tell
those
them?
I know, I feel like I have to. They have to know why.
Oh, I
right?
guess so.
But before I get started with this crazy story, we want to hear from you guys what you think an invertebrate is, what makes an invertebrate, and maybe some examples. So put those in the comments, some examples of maybe your favorite invertebrates in the comments. So anyways, had this crazy experience. This happens a lot at Outdoor Ed where we have weird stuff go on at nighttime. Like weird dreams, just like crazy stuff happening. And one of them happened to me last night. I was coming home from our campfire program. Trout and I did the campfire. It was super fun, but I was so tired afterwards. Went directly to sleep. All right. And then when you get into that space where you're like half asleep in your bed and you're like almost there, but then you get that huge jolt and you're like, whoa. Feels like you're falling, right? Does that happen to you guys? Totally. Yeah. I feel like it happens to everybody. That happened to me, except it was not a falling feeling. It was actually a sound. And it's never happened to me before where it's a sound, but it sounded like this. Whoa! What? Yeah, it woke me right up.
That?
Whoa, huh?
What noise?
It was, whoa! Yeah, woke me right up. All right, so I pop up out of bed. I'm like, oh my gosh, what was that? Bust out of my room, and I'm walking down the hallway. I'm like, who's making all this ruckus in my house? I'm looking around. All the lights are off, and I did not hear a sound. I was like, well, I must have been just like a dream or something like that. I don't know. So I go back to sleep. And I'm once again right in that halfway asleep spot. And that's when I hear it. So I almost, I don't even.
Someone doing the water bug?
Yeah, it might have been. I don't know. I even knocked on Ruth's door. I was like, Ruth's. It wasn't her. She was asleep. Anyways, I woke up and I was like, okay, that was definitely not a dream. All right, so I walk out, and this time I go outside because in my house it was silent. I'm looking around outside.
Oh, I'm nervous.
And I didn't see anything. There was no one out there. I didn't even hear a noise. So I was like, all right, I guess all I can do is just go back to sleep. I'm so tired. And I close the door, and I'm turning to go inside. And that's when I heard it. I heard a small voice go, Shanty! Shanty! Chantarelli! And I go, oh my gosh, who was it? Bust back open the door. Even it sounded like it came from right outside of my front door. And I go outside, but there was no one there. And that is when I heard it.
Again?
Sobbing.
Is
They
it
were
trout
like-
again?
It wasn't Trout this time, but yeah, he does get down sometimes. It's okay. It happens to the best of us. But I heard this sobbing, and it sounded like it was coming from the ground in front of me. So I reached down, and that's when I saw this little, tiny worm. I know, right? I was like, oh my gosh, it's a little worm. So I picked it up, and the worm was bawling, just sobbing and crying, and I was like, oh my gosh. It's crazy. It's crazy. I started tearing up too. I was so sad. And I looked at this worm and I was like, Mr. Worm, what's wrong? What's the deal? Are you okay? And the worm looked at me and went, excuse me, but I am not Mr. Worm. My name is Gusano. And I was like, wait a second. Doesn't Gusano just mean worm in Spanish? And I was like, okay, well, I'll just call you Gusano. That's what you want to be called. Whatever. Yeah. Anyways, I'm looking at Mr. Gusano, and I'm like, Mr. Gusano, what's wrong? And Gusano looks up at me and goes, all you naturalists do at Outdoor Ed is talk about giant animals, the huge deer, and the birds, and squirrels, and rabbits, and all the kids love all those animals, but us little animals, the little tiny invertebrates, don't get any love or attention. You don't sing any songs about us. And I was like, you know what, Mr. Gusano, you're totally right.
Yeah.
So the Gusano and I stayed up all night with the other naturalists. I went and grabbed them. And we actually wrote a song about gusanos and how important they are for the soil and for aerating the soil and for creating that nutrient-rich place for plants to grow.
True.
Right? So they're super important. So we ended up actually writing a song for the Gusano. And you guys at home have to scream and sing as loud as you can along with us so all the Gusanos can hear us and how much we appreciate them, all right? So the chorus that you guys can sing along with goes like this, okay? You gotta get your elbow up like this, and it goes, we'll do this repeat after me style to learn it.
Repeat after me, style.
To learn it.
There you go, nice. It goes, Gusano, na 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 na.
See!
Very important that you stand up and sing along and dance along
Clear
with
some
us
space too.
as we're doing this. Yeah, clear out some area. Don't want to knock over your
Cereal bowl.
binders. All right, we do this twice. Another Gusano. Ready? Gusano na 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 na.
See!
Sing!
Amazing.
I aerate the earth.
I aerate the earth
As I tunnel!
as I tunnel
And squirm!
and squirm.
I am proud
I am proud
to be called
to be called
a worm.
a worm.
Those flamenco claps are very important.
They are.
All right, you can go side to side. At the end of every line in the verse, we also do the clap, and you can clap along with us too. So it goes like, I am a worm. You got it.
It's very important to also pivot and look over your shoulder.
Yeah. Show off your calves.
Yeah.
Super important.
Maybe Cleaver can come.
All right, let's get it with some guitar. Hazel, come on over.
Oh, new guitarist.
Yeah.
Let's pan
Hazel's
over.
gonna rock it.
Guitar.
All right, you guys ready?
She's so talented.
Goose. No.
C.
Goose.
C.
I aerate the earth as I tunnel and squirm. I am proud to be called a worm. I am a worm,
Oh, yeah?
a wondrous worm. It's down under that I love to squirm, to eat the dead, as the living's my toil. And what comes out makes magnificent soil. Goose, no.
C.
Goose, no.
C.
I aerate the earth as I tunnel and squirm. I am proud to be called a worm.
Our tunnel's flood. It rains all night. Come out for air. To be killed by light. When people die, worms attend the wisdom. But no one goes to a worm's funeral.
Goose,
So high. C.
Goose,
C.
I aerate the earth as I tunnel and squirm. I am proud to be called a worm. A robin's cute, but have you heard of the massacre of the early bird? We do such good. From us you could learn. But you make us fish bait in return. Goose,
C.
Goose,
C.
I aerate the earth as I tunnel and squirm. I am proud to be called a worm.
Woo! I am just.
Sweet.
Pacific, do we have those comments?
Oh, great. You guys are
A
commenting.
new comment
Great.
lady.
I love it. I love it.
New comment lady.
New comment lady coming in hot.
This is getting seriously
Inbound.
confusing.
So, Kathy was answering your question about what an invertebrate is, and she thinks it's an animal that doesn't have a backbone.
Nice, Kathy.
Is Kathy a genius?
I think so. And Stephanie commented that her favorite bug is the atlas moth.
Cool.
I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Yeah, Mom. So, Kathy is totally right. So if everyone grabs their or holds up their little busana that we were singing with, and touch the back of your neck and down, and you feel those bumps, that's your backbone. And that's like the pillar for our body. It's what keeps us up and standing and all the things strong. And an invertebrate is an animal without a backbone. So we're going to be finding a lot of different invertebrates today, and there is only one way you can truly do this.
It's true. It's true. It's this cool place. All right, I got to tell you guys.
Yeah,
It's a pretty special thing, actually. So, got to get in close to tell you. So, in order to find invertebrates, most of the time they're really small, and they're hard to find, and they're in sort of like hidden places a lot. They like to hide so they don't get eaten and stuff like that. But if you enter this place, you can actually find them pretty easily. And the place is called the World of Small. It's very easy to enter as long as you know what you're doing. And I can show you how we can get there and find some of these invertebrates, and honestly, a ton of other cool stuff that's usually just too small for you to see if you're not paying attention and you're not entering the world of small and looking closely at what's around you. But come on over and take a look at how to enter the world of small. My favorite way to do it is to get down real low on your stomach and put your face really close to where you're looking and dig around in the duff and in the soil. And you'd be pretty amazed at what you can find. I'm already finding some little tiny seeds, little redwood seeds in the duff. But if you look long enough and in the right places, you can find maybe some of those invertebrates that we're looking for today. So I'm gonna have you guys at home go ahead and try to enter the world of small on your own. You can even do this in your house. And us here, us naturalists, can enter the world of small, and we'll see what we can find. But I'd love to hear in the comments what you're finding at home in your world of small that you're doing by yourself out there.
Trello seems to have the right idea.
See it. Yeah, let's seed it.
Lucy.
Penned by Roots.
Ooh, Hazel, what's going on
I
here?
found all of this moss, but when you get really close, it looks like an entire forest. And you can even see that some of the moss is growing these little things. I think this might also be a seed, actually. It's popping up in this tiny little stem.
So the
What
world
do
of
you
small
all
doesn't
notice?
always have to be on your belly and in the dirt, but it can be finding little crooks and crannies like Hazel's doing.
Yeah, a little tiny ecosystem right here.
Nice.
Ooh, Roots looks like she's up to something.
Anything?
Or Poppy.
Cobwebs.
Nice.
Ooh, or Poppy. We can go to Poppy.
Oh, we're going to Poppy.
What do you got going on over there?
Ooh, I just noticed that there maybe aren't any invertebrates that I see, but maybe some traces of them. So there's some webs from spiders, and there's like kind of two different types. And then when the sun was shining over there, I actually saw slug slime. Or at least I thought I did.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I think it's right. Oh, no, that's plastic.
Oh no, plastic, we don't want that.
Cool. So finding evidence of invertebrates in the world of small too. Thanks, Pops. That's a really great one.
Right. Thanks for entering the world of small, you guys. I hope you found something cool. I know we did. Oh, they found some stuff. Come on over, comment lady.
So, Adela found an ant while she was doing the world of small.
That's an invertebrate. Yes,
And-
Adela is awesome.
Melissa found dog hair because her dog sheds a lot. And lots of people with dogs might have found the same thing. And Donna found a roly-poly.
No way!
Hey. Oh man.
Nice.
You guys are already finding some invertebrates.
Great job.
I'm super psyched.
And like we said too, how maybe Poppy didn't find an actual invertebrate, but she found evidence of one with the spider webs and the slug slime. So there's all different ways you can enter the world of small and see different things. And we actually want to teach you 2 different ways that you can do this outside in your own backyard or on a sidewalk or maybe at a park. And we're going to have some naturalists teach us and see what we can find, and hopefully we find some really cool invertebrates that we can teach you about. And while they're doing that, we'd love for you to comment what you're noticing or what you wonder about some of these things that we're finding maybe under a log or in a tree. And we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, we'd love to hear if you've found them before or anything like that too.
Yeah.
Now there is somebody special that we want to invite to learn about some of these different ways that we can
We have to teach
find some of these invertebrates. Yeah, she definitely needs to do a little bit of
Yeah.
learning. She's been learning all week.
Lady
Lady Nightshade,
Nightshade,
come on in.
Oh, you summons me.
Yeah.
Cackle's getting gentler.
Yes, I feel gentler, Lumen. It's quite interesting. I don't know what is going over me. I don't know what's happening, but I feel like I might be changing.
Mother Earth.
Whoa!
Lady Nightshade, Nightshade,
very strong.
we know you've been practicing sharing all week.
I have been.
And today we're sharing with some of the students on the live stream how to find some invertebrates and insects and other cool bugs on their own. We were wondering if you would want to come check it out with us.
I think I might actually want to sit this one out, Shanty. Thanks for offering, though. That's really cool that you guys are doing that.
It is really cool.
Yeah.
I think you would love it, honestly. I know some people are afraid of bugs. They might be gross sometimes, but they're so important for us to learn about. They're important for our ecosystems around us. So
I suppose
we'd love for you to check it out.
They are. Well,
Come on, Lady Nightshade.
okay. I'd love to, but I think I'm just gonna sit this one out. I'll just
Hold
be
on,
going.
Lady Nightshade, come on back. Come on
Okay,
back.
okay,
How about this?
okay.
How about this? I'll make you a deal.
Okay.
You don't even have to touch any of the invertebrates. You can
Okay.
just look. That's it.
Observe them.
Yeah, you can just learn how.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I don't really have a choice. I'll do it. Yes,
Let's do it.
I'll
Come
do
on.
it.
All right, let's check out
I think
Cholo.
Cholo's finding some cool stuff
Okay.
over there. We'll learn from her. Let's go.
Gonna learn about the little creepy crawlies.
So I believe
It's kind of
Cholo
ironic that a witch
has been
is
looking
scared
under
of
logs
bugs.
over here and is finding some pretty cool invertebrates. So Cholo, do you want to tell us a little bit about how to look for invertebrates under a log?
Yeah, for sure. So, we're gonna come to some logs, right? These are the perfect size logs. But
Right, make sure you find the perfect one.
yeah, the perfect one. This one is totally perfect for me. This is perfect for my height. So, when you come over to a log, the first thing you want to do is like, oh, I'm gonna flip it, but then I'm doing something wrong already. I want to flip it with my foot, but you don't want to flip it with your foot. Lady Nightshade, why, come on.
Okay, I'll come over here.
What do you think I don't want to flip it with my foot?
Well, I think if you did that,
Yeah.
probably would destroy the log, maybe.
Yes, correct. I destroyed a log, which is like habitat for some animals, and I might accidentally push or squish whatever's down there. And do you think I'd push it away or pull it towards me?
I'm gonna say pull it towards
Yes,
you.
I would totally pull it towards me because if I pull it towards me, let's say there's like a snake or something underneath there. I want to use this for protection, but also let them run away from me and have a way of like.
Show
Escape.
respect to
Yeah,
the animal.
respect. So we're gonna do this in one quick motion and pull. And let's see what we have underneath here. I want to look from left to right slowly. See what we have. And right now, don't really see much, but Soleil and I had gone flipping logs earlier today. That's what we love to do. And we found a bunch of cool critters that we caught, and we have them waiting just for you. But if you notice,
Wait, is that a slug?
there's two. Oh, there is.
Yeah, you always gotta check the bottom
Oh
of the
my
log.
goodness.
Check the bottom of the log.
Wow!
Cool.
I never would have guessed.
Oh my gosh.
It's not a banana slug, though.
Yep, regular slug.
kind of
If you
slug.
notice, there's two different colors. There's that darker, and that kind of shows that it's a little damp underneath here.
Nice.
So perfect.
Cool. Cholo, I'm so glad you found that
Yeah.
slug because that's actually something that we wanted to talk about today. Slugs are part of a really cool group of invertebrates called gastropods, and they include the slugs and the snails. And here at Outdoor Ed, we love gastropods because banana slugs are gastropods, and they're our favorite. What's pretty cool is that gastropods have one big foot on the bottom. That's how they move
Only
around.
one
Yeah, it's
foot?
just one really big one. That's how they slime around.
Whoa.
Pretty cool.
Whoa. And Cholo, did you already say to put it back the log?
And the most important part is to flip your log back over. And we're going to gently flip this log over because
Make sure you don't squish
there
that
is
little
a slug
guy.
underneath. So we're just going to flip it very carefully.
Oh, perfect.
And it'll be perfectly fine. And we're going to walk over to this side.
And that way you preserve the habitat.
Perfect habitat.
The wet spot
We have
underneath
some
it.
bugs here waiting for you.
Whoa! Oh my gosh!
Whoa!
There's so many!
Yeah. Let's see.
We have a special guest here too.
Oh my god, they're
Presenting-
actually really cute.
My name is Millipede, and I'm obsessed with millipedes. We found two millipedes. We found two different millipedes today. And we also found a similar organism that people mix them up with, the centipede.
Oh wow, you really get
But the centipedes are really, really fast. So that's why we had the cup over it, because they just squirm.
And look how
Millipede,
fast the legs are
why
moving.
are centipedes so fast, do you think?
It's got to do with their food source, I think. They're hunters. They eat insects, so they gotta like catch them really, really fast. The millipedes are so chill. They just very slowly creep along. Did we lose the centipede?
Yeah. There's another centipede, actually.
Oh, nice.
Keep it in the
Oh,
And
stay on that.
they-
That's so beautiful.
They have 2
Oh, wow.
legs per segment. See if you can look at their pairs of legs as they move. They have so much flow. I love the way that they walk.
the contrasting colors.
From the students.
So Natalia has a question, and she's wondering if these animals, I think she was asking if the slug in particular, get squished when they're underneath the log.
Well, I think they're usually okay under there. They like a lot of the animals that live under logs like to dig holes and hang out under there. But they could get squished if you're stepping on logs or putting them back real aggressively. So make sure you're just gentle with the logs and they'll be okay.
Sweet.
All right.
Thanks, Cholo and Soleil and Moo.
Thank you guys. That was really cool.
That was so
So
cool.
much good stuff. Let's go ahead and check out what Roots has for us.
Roots
And what
and Poppy.
Roots and Poppy over here have for us. I think they have a different strategy for finding
Hey,
invertebrates.
see you there.
All right. Oh, so we are going to be doing a little bit of tree shaking today to see if we can find any of the invertebrates that are hiding in the branches of this redwood tree. And Roots, you want to tell us why we're using a white sheet underneath?
Yes, we're using a white sheet so we can see the insects or the invertebrates. And we're going to use our eyes to see if we have any bugs on there. I see one actually. And what's really cool is once we're done shaking the tree, let us know what you see and maybe we can pick them up and let us know what you notice.
Or what you wonder?
Yeah.
Yeah, we love questions. And yeah, let's
Okay.
Lady Nisha, do you want to help with shaking this tree? a little bit?
Sure, I'll help out. Okay, so you want me to shake a branch?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead and do a
shake
little
Okay,
shaking.
I'm gonna
Shake-
assume this position
And
here.
there's this one that
Let's
I
shake
think
that one.
that one's
Are you sure it's not really over the white sheet?
Yeah,
It's
we'll
okay.
shake that
Yeah.
one, and we'll
Keep
shake this
shaking
lower
that
one.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll shake that one too.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Whoa! Oh my gosh! Stop! 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 Stop!
Oh my gosh, a cricket!
Whoa!
Oh my gosh.
That's so cool!
Oh, look at this.
Maybe we can get some close-ups of
There's
it.
more spiders.
Wait, the cricket's running away.
Go ahead.
I think I can catch
Yeah,
them.
Lady Nightshade, you can touch it.
Oh! Oh my gosh! Oh! It's jumping for joy!
And there's this one. How about this, Lady Nightshade? You want to pick this up?
Oh, I don't know. That looks kind of like. I think it almost looks like a spider, but I'm pretty sure it's actually a daddy longlegs. And I might be incorrect, but I believe it's it's a member of the order Opiliones.
Fancy.
But I do know that they're not poisonous. I've been studying these creatures, so I think I can pick them up. Venomous, I should say.
Ooh, Shanty, what you got there?
Oh, this is really scary.
Well, I'm really glad that we found spiders because that's one of the things we wanted to talk about too. So we got
I picked it up.
spiders, which can be differentiated between insects because they only have these 2 segments on their body, just their thorax/head and their abdomen here. And they're gonna have 8 legs total, and they're called arachnids. Pretty sweet. Spiders, scorpions, and ticks are all like that. They have those 2 segments and 8 legs.
I think
Alright.
you should put the camera on me because I'm overcoming my fears.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I'm letting it crawl on me. These guys are actually closer to scorpions than to spiders, even though they look a lot like a spider.
And some spiders are actually helpful too because they eat other bugs in your house. And here
Nice. I like them a lot. They're my friend.
I have Mr. Cricket. Oh, awesome. And as you can see the antennae moving. They have these really long legs that help them jump. Oh, there you go. Oh, the cricket knew. Pop out the leg.
Looks like Comment Lady's got some stuff back here.
Yeah.
Thanks, Poppy and Ruth.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Of really good questions from and observations that some students have made between those 2 ways you can find invertebrate. So Amita is wondering what the yellow spots on the millipede are, and Lucy is wondering why they have so many legs. Peter is wondering what is the difference between a slug and a snail aside from the shell. there are any other differences. And Alyssa was wondering if they bite. And then some other questions that we have from this section of Shaking the Tree. Jude is wondering, is that a cave cricket? And Lucy is wondering why crickets need to jump so far.
Oh, good
So lots of really awesome questions from the students who are watching.
It is awesome.
So it sounds like we have a ton of really cool questions from the audience today. Honestly, I can't even remember all of them, but there's so many. It sounds like a lot of them are asking about different adaptations that these insects have. And I know earlier in the week we talked a little bit about adaptations, and I'd love to hear from you guys why we think that these adaptations, why these invertebrates have these adaptations, like the coloration, so many legs,
the ability to jump far, all great ones. And we found so many cool invertebrates in just those 2 ways of looking. There's so many other ways you can do it. You can even do it in your own home, like going and looking in the corners of your house, or maybe under things. You'll never know what you'll find. But we are going to focus on one category of invertebrates especially, and that is an insect. So, an insect is composed... What is that?
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I really. Hi everybody, I'm Buzz. How you doing?
Buzz!
Hi there, Lumen.
Are you an insect?
I am an insect. Isn't it obvious?
How can we tell?
You have a head.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Before we get into that, I'm angry.
What?
Yeah, I'm pretty angry. I'm angry at people who are afraid of insects. They think we're gonna bite them. They think we're gonna sting them.
Yeah.
They have this phobia about us. Look it. Your people are more harm to us than we are to them.
True.
Yeah, for sure. And then you say things like, "Don't bug me," or "Bug off."
And that bugs you.
No, it humans me. Don't human me and human off. How does that feel, huh?
Pretty hurtful.
Yeah. So I want people to respect us because, hey, the world will be way different if it wasn't for us.
Yeah, or if insects were as big as you.
Yeah, how would that be like, huh? And if I saw a little tiny human in my bathtub, I wouldn't step on it. I'd put it in a jar, and I'd take it outside and put it in a safe habitat.
Aww.
Yeah, that's what you could do with us. You know, a friend of mine, he got stepped on the other day. I heard his exoskeleton crush. It was terrible.
It squelched?
Oh.
That's horrible.
Yeah, I don't even want to describe it. It was rough.
Yeah? I wonder what you'd sound like.
Well, we do have an exoskeleton. That's our hard outside. We don't have bones. No bones within us. We have this exoskeleton.
Right.
Now, you were going to talk about my parts?
Yeah, because you are just like a real life size insect, and I can't believe how lucky we are that you got here in time.
Yeah.
So, do you mind if I point at you?
Sure.
Cool.
Go
Thanks,
ahead.
Buzz. So, insects are different than certain invertebrates because they have a head.
I got a head.
And then attached to their head is their thorax. Where's it?
Thorax.
Nice. And then attached to that, unlike a spider who only has 2 of those body parts, there's an abdomen. See? Whoa, nice. Shake your tail feathers.
That's my abdomen.
Nice.
Yours is down here. Mine's back there.
Yours is back there.
Yeah.
True. And we don't have a thorax. And then on that head, there's 2 compound eyes.
Uh-huh.
Buzz,
I see you and 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 you. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then in between those are 2 antennae.
Oh, yeah.
I see
How are my antennae doing today?
I'm not sure if you're picking up any signals. One's kind of rogue.
You know, we smell with our antennae. Yeah.
Oh,
I can
you don't
smell
get
things.
signals?
I smell.
Oh,
I
it's
smell.
not like a Wi-Fi.
Well, kind of. I can smell all kinds of stuff.
Nice.
Did you shower lately?
Anyways, I think.
Well, my smell is intense.
Like roses and rainbows. And then attached to that thorax are not 1, not 2, not 5, but 6 legs. Do you have 6 legs?
I do. I should be able to play 3 guitars at once.
So we have a question from Francis is wondering what is an abdomen?
Ah, very good. It's kind of where our guts are. It's kind of like our rear end here.
Yeah.
It's and our ovipositors at the end where we lay our eggs as well.
Cool, and want to tell the purpose of the thorax too? holds your legs.
It holds my legs. It's where my some of my internal organs are that pump my blood around.
Whoa.
My green blood. Yeah.
Yeah, you're glowing. You're like a
Yeah.
toxic bug
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
in that waste site, you know?
That was a good question.
That was a really good question. So, Buzz, I was wondering, since you're such a good example of all the parts of an insect, do you want to play a game with us?
I'd love to.
Sweet, you might have to drop the guitar, superstar.
I don't drop my guitar. I put it down. Okay. Gotta get
Buzz woke up on the wrong side of his
my
nest.
wings are falling off.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Okay.
So, this game is going to be based on those 6 parts, that different things that we told you about an insect. So, to review, we've got the head. We've got the thorax. You can repeat after me. Good idea. Then you got the abdomen.
Abdomen.
Nice. And then compound eyes.
Compound eyes.
2 antennae.
2 antennae.
And 6 legs.
And 6 legs. I
Those
got
are the
them.
parts. So, we are going to do something called 1, 2, 3 insect. Actually, 1, 2, 3 buzz. Because we respect insects here.
I appreciate
So
that.
you got to be in the neutral position.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I count down from 3, you're going to choose one of those things of an insect. And if you have the same one as me, you are eliminated.
I don't like that.
I don't like that either. Don't do that. Sorry, we'll just go eliminated. So, are you ready? Does that make sense? Oh, yeah. This can just be a practice. Yeah. 3, 2, 1, buzz. Oh my God! Yeah! They both had compound eyes like me.
Practice.
It was just a practice.
Okay.
So they would be eliminated. All right, neutral position. 3, 2, 1, buzz. I was doing the abdomen. Eliminated. Cool. 3, 2, 1, head. I didn't get anyone.
Make sure you're playing along at home.
3, 2, 1, buzz. I can't get them. 3, 2, 1, buzz. 6 legs. Ah! Boom. 3, 2, 1, buzz. Are you reverse psychology me? What were you touching?
All right.
3, 2, 1, buzz. No! Alright, I'm gonna get you this time, Buzz.
Nope.
3, 2, 1, buzz.
Oh,
yeah!
That's what humans do. They cheat. We insects don't cheat.
So, Buzz, you brought this guitar, and I'm just wondering, why?
Well, I want people to sing about me. We insects are very important, you know. We go through metamorphic change. We turn from weird to really strange. And you know what? Some aren't so good to have around because they'll eat your garden down. But others, like me, are beneficial guests because we'll eat those garden pests. I was just up in the garden a little while ago and I ate a whole bunch of pests.
Really?
Yeah.
Aphids off of that kale?
Yeah.
And those artichokes?
Those pests really suck.
They do.
Yeah, they suck the plant juices out, and I ate them. So you can sing this song along with us. It goes head, thorax, abdomen. We're built inside out, no bones within.
We're built
Inside out, no bones within.
Do the motions.
Head, thorax, abdomen.
We're built inside out, no bones within. Sing it again.
Head, thorax, abdomen.
Talking about my six-legged friends. We go through metamorphic change. We turn from weird to really strange. Wings to fly, antennae too. Mouth parts too. Suck and chew.
Head, thorax, abdomen.
We're built inside out, no bones within.
Head, thorax, abdomen.
Talking about my six-legged friends. Some aren't so good to have around because they'll eat your garden down. others, they are beneficial guests because we eat those garden pests. Here we go. Head, thorax, abdomen. We're built inside out, no bones within. Head, thorax, abdomen. Talking about my six-legged friends. Wasps, moths, flies and fleas, crickets, ants, beetles and bees. Each one has a part to play, from pollinating flowers to eating decay. Head, thorax, abdomen. We're built inside out, no bones within. Sing it! Head, thorax, abdomen. My six-legged friends. Now if you want to change your point of view, get down on the ground and do what insects do. And if you see a foot in the air, I hope it's a foot that walks with care. Head, thorax, abdomen. We're built inside out, no bones within. Head, thorax, abdomen. Talking about my six-legged friends. Talking about my six-legged friends. Take care of us, insects. I feel a change going on. I think I'm going through metamorphosis. I'll see you later. Bye.
Man, what a cool guy. Almost reminds me of an old boss I had.
That's great.
Question.
Ooh, yeah.
One of our students.
Before we hear those other questions, we want to hear from you guys why you think insects and other invertebrates are so important for our ecosystems and for us.
That's
So
crazy.
we want to hear that in the
Because
comment. We
that's
got
the
some.
question that
Let's
Debbie
hear
was
it.
going to ask.
Oh,
That was
sweet.
the same
That
question.
was the same one?
So now you have
Oh
so
my
many
gosh.
people trying to answer your question.
All right. Yeah, we want everyone to try to answer.
Yeah, we want to hear your comments. And if you need help, maybe you can think back to some of the things Buzz said, because in his killer song, he was
Yeah.
talking about some of those things.
There were a whole bunch of them. And insects are some of the most important animals that we have in any ecosystem. You can find them almost anywhere. Let's go ask our naturalists and see what they think about this question. What do you guys think? Why are insects and invertebrates so important?
I think that insects and invertebrates are super important because they help pollinate.
Oh, why is pollination important?
Pollination is important because without the pollinators, then we wouldn't be able to grow all of the cool stuff that we are able to grow.
Oh,
Like food! And I love food.
I love fruits and vegetables.
Cool.
Thanks, insects.
Yeah, can we get a thanks, insects?
Thanks, insects!
Yeah, especially Buzz. What a guy.
Biggest insect of them all. All right.
So I have some comments.
Oh, we got some coming in. Let's hear it. We really want to hear from you guys.
So Todd also mentioned that insects are important because they pollinate.
Nice.
And
Thanks, Todd.
Lucy and Derek both commented that they eat the bad bugs or the pests that you don't want around.
Totally. That's a great
Nice.
one.
Sure. Yeah. Like mosquitoes, they get eaten by tons of other
Whoa,
insects.
another
Yeah.
comment,
Oh my
lady.
gosh, they're flying in.
Yo-Yo said that the insects are some other animals' food, so they're food source. And Jay, sorry, can't read my own handwriting, said that Jude, spiders kill other bugs to prevent overpopulation. They
Oh,
bring
yeah.
great balance. Good one, Jude.
Great comments,
Whoa.
everybody.
And
Like crazy.
Lucy says that some bugs help aerate the soil.
Gusano!
Do the worm, do the worm, do the worm.
Oh,
What about,
so many
what
different
else
things.
do little gusanos and slugs do that is so important for our forests?
So, Lay, come on up. What do you think? Don't be
Whoa, that was crazy.
10 out of 10. Stuck landing. They eat all this dead plant matter on the ground and poop out soil. Nutrient rich soil. Oh, I wish I pooped soil like Gusano.
Me too, but we eat too many toxic things like Cheetos. So,
We wouldn't have any plants without those invertebrates in the soil, creating that nutrient-rich stuff that our plants need. It's awesome.
true.
Yeah.
What a great way to and our invertebrate lesson, talking about why they're so important, why it's important for us to be careful and not crunch them.
Yeah.
Or swat them when they're in our houses.
Yeah. So, guys, this is the last section of our week at Outdoor Ed. We're a little sad, but we're going to be here next week, like Lumen said earlier, which is really great. But in the meantime, we want to make sure that you guys are using all the skills that you learned this week. So today, we talked about how you can find invertebrates and how to look closely and use your observation skills. And we've been talking about that stuff all week. And we just wanted to bring up some of the other naturalists that did some of the other lessons throughout the week and hear what they have to say about what you can do at home too.
Like with me and Twig, we talked about
building habitats, and we talked all about habitats, but at the end specifically we talked about something you can do, which is building habitats.
giving that shelter, the food, the water, and space for maybe some invertebrates in your backyard. Bring them in. Cool, thanks, Twig.
For sure.
We have P-O-P-P-Y and Roots.
Tuesday crew.
Oh, Tuesday crew.
If you remember us from Tuesday, we talked all about leaf characteristics and trees, and we had some cool skits, just saying. But the things that we want you to try when you are out exploring at home are some clubs. We had lots of cool clubs, right? We have the Belly Up Club, Feed Up a Tree. Remember we did scientific sketching with leaves as well, which was pretty cool. Yeah, practice your close observation and sketch some of those leaves.
Yeah, and don't forget about Big Red and Dead Fred. Visit them when it is a great time to.
Yeah, we had beach day beauties.
Too sweet. That's right. On Beach Day with Pacific and I talked a lot about different habitats and ecosystems and the adaptations of the animals that live there. And some of the activities we came up with for you guys to do at home were to...
We can go bird watching, and you can look for all those different adaptations in the ecosystem that those birds live in. And you can create a critter. So you can invent your own creature that lives in any ecosystem you want it to live in, that has adaptations that help it eat, have shelter, and get protected from predators. And our last thing that you can do is you can go look up the Monterey Bay Aquarium live cameras, and you can check out all of those beach-related animals. And I could watch them for hours, and I hope you can enjoy all those different ecosystems through the cameras at the Monterey Bay Aquarium.
Oh yeah.
And lastly,
your Monday crew with me and Trout.
So we learned about six spots, and we also learned a few natural skills like hawk eyes and
coyote ears.
Yeah.
So try them in your special place in nature and try to make some observations about what you can see around you. Practice all these different activities that all the naturalists have been doing from your magic spot so that you can get to know it even better.
you can even come up with your own Shibuya.
Yeah?
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty cool.
Awesome.
All right. Before we wrap this bad boy up, we have one more person that wants to, all-powerful, magical being, 1,000-year-old witch.
not Buzz.
All of those work. That wants to talk to you guys. So come on up, ladies.
Thank you, Chanterelle and Lumen. Thank you for helping me get over my fears.
You're so welcome.
Of invertebrates.
You're welcome.
I started out this week. I was really greedy and I didn't want to share this beautiful natural space, and I realized the reason I didn't want to share it is because I was so special for me, and I was kind of a bit jealous and also a bit scared of sharing it with a bunch of people that I didn't know, but I realized that in these times it's so important to share more than ever. And so one of my coworkers actually found this pebble right here. This is a pebble I stole from Pebble Beach right here, and I am going to return this pebble to Pebble Beach where it belongs, because that is its home, so all students who visit that beach in the future can see all of the pebbles. And I'm going to end off with one last thing. Would somebody like to... Well, I'll just put this in my pocket, I think, and I'll put it back later. I actually have a confession to make. I'm not... Yeah, I have a confession to make. I'm not actually Lady Nightshade.
What?
Yeah, Lady Nightshade is actually a fictional character. She doesn't actually exist.
She's not
It's
1,000 years
Marine
old.
No, it's actually my name's Scale. I'm a new naturalist.
Oh my gosh. Scale the whole time.
Hi guys, how's it going? You didn't know it was me? I mean, I was gone. I was gone literally all week. Well, I guess I did tell you I was going on. I was
Sabbatical.
Sabbatical, yeah.
Wait, weren't you on American Idol?
So yeah, just to reiterate, the reason why I dressed as Lady Nightshade is because it's so important to share, and we are sharing this beautiful place with all of you at home right now, because it's so important to share. And so what I want you to take away from all this is I want you to share something special with your family at home. Anything special at all that's really important to you. That is what I want you to do as you go on beyond. And also, you're going to see me next week because we're actually going to keep doing these live streams. Campfires will be slightly different, but we're going to keep doing these next week. And we'll talk about that a little bit more, I think, later. Same times, 10 to 11, 6:30 to 7:30, live streams next week. Be there, be square. Also, there's the Spanish lesson on Wednesday from 11 to noon. Don't forget about that one, too.
11:15.
11:15. And we'll have all this information we'll post it, and you can all see it somewhere. We'll send it out. And, yeah, I guess to finish off, this is Get Outdoor Ed. We have a tree. And this tree represents all of the growth that you've done this week. But we can't just plant this tree and just expect it to do everything on its own. We need to know what a tree needs. So I want you to remember back to all the things you learned this week. I want you to write down in the comments, what does a tree need? Write that down in the comments right now. What does a tree need? And this tree right here is a beautiful manzanita. And we bring it out every week for our students so that we can show it to them. And at the end of each year, we plant this tree, and it grows, and it's pretty much the summation of every student here at Outdoor Ed, this tree.
So, Henry in the audience said this tree needs water.
Water! Okay, does the naturalist have some water?
Got it.
Poppy's got it. We gotta water this tree. Oh, Shanty's got it. There we go. Yeah, get that thirsty tree some water. Yes, excellent. Okay, what else does a tree need? Write down in the comments.
We got some more. Leanne says the sun.
Some sunlight. It's a bit shady right now where this tree is, so I need everybody to get.
Right here.
You're right. Everybody reach out to the sun. Gather some sunlight, some sun rays. You at home, gather some sun, and then I want you to get your solar rays. Warm them up, warm them up, and then on the count of 3, we're gonna zap that sunlight into the tree. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I think I just saw it grow a little bit.
I did too.
Okay, what else does a tree need?
So, Yu-Ting said this tree needs air.
Air. Specifically the carbon dioxide in the air. So what we're all going to do is we're going to give our breath, and you do this at home too, we're going to give our breathiest, thank you plant, thank you tree. On the count of 3, ready? Take a deep breath. 1.
Yeah, we'll fan.
Oh, we're going to fan it. Just kidding. Fan it at home. Fan it at home.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
All right,
Cool.
final, or no, maybe not the final. Chicago said that this plant needs soil.
Soil. Would somebody mind grabbing some soil?
I've got the best soil right here.
Oh, beautiful. Poppy's got it.
P-O-P-P-Y.
Excellent. Beautiful. That's so good. All right. So we have, we gave our plant some water. We gave it some sunlight. We gave it some air. We gave it some soil. There's one really important thing that this plant needs, and I want you, if you have it, write it down in the comments. Has anybody said it yet? Oh, this is the most important ingredient. It's something that we all carry inside ourselves, and we give it to all the things we care about. I want you to write it down. What did you say?
Rhythm?
Rhythm? Maybe. It is something that carries rhythm.
Lisa says love.
Love! We need to give this tree some love. So I want you at home to warm up your warmest warm fuzzies right over your heart like this. And on the count of 3, we're going to send our warmest warm fuzzies to this tree right here to give it some love. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Okay. I think this tree is going to do well.
I think so too.
I think it's going to do amazing. Thanks to all of you at home. That's the end of Outdoor Ed. So we should thank some people like Solar Steve.
Solar Steve. Everybody say, it's a fine day, good morning. It's a fine day. Everybody say, it's a fine day, good morning.
Naturalists over there, wave your arms in the air. Naturalists over there, good morning.
It's a fine day. Everybody say, it's a fine day, good morning.
Students back home, wave your arms in the air. Students over there, good morning.
It's a fine day. Everybody say, it's a fine day, good morning.
Lady Nightshade over there, wave your arms in the air. Lady Nightshade, good morning.
It's a fine day. Everybody say, it's a fine day, good morning.
We do have our last song to sing to you, but first we want to do a few recognitions and call-outs. Thanks for being with us this week. We've had a great time presenting to you, and I hope you've had a great time too. I've certainly loved reading your comments, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But first of all, it takes a lot of people to make something like this happen. Not only the naturalists here, but people sitting behind the scenes too. One of those people is vital to keeping our program going, and that would be Fern. And Fern's going to come up and talk to you and shout out some recognition. So. Fern.
We just wanted to give another big thank you to all the schools that were tuning in this week, that this was your week of outdoor ed. So those schools again are Audubon, Bury, Nesbitt, Washington, FD Roosevelt from Jefferson School District, Clifford Roosevelt from Redwood City School District, Juniper Serra, Box School, Roosevelt from Burlingame School District, MP Brown, George Washington, Taft, and Brewer Island. Thank you all so much for all your thoughtful comments and tuning in this week. We hope to see you again next week too, and thank you so much for everything. We are so excited to be able to give you outdoor ed at home.
And then another person that's vital for our program, and this person has been our leader, is our great leader. He's the top of the chain here, top of the food chain. And it was his idea actually to go live streaming with Outdoor Ed when all of this happened. So I want to welcome my friend and my boss, Mr. Maureen Mark.
How about one more time, all the energy and all the hard work that this staff put in to live stream, this is historic, the very first live stream of outdoor education in the history of California this last week. You witnessed it. So let's give our staff a big, amazing job. It's been the highlight of my week watching Outdoor Ed. And remember also, for the parents and kids, thank you for tuning in, and thank the teachers, the school districts, and especially San Mateo County Office of Education, who sponsors us, and Nancy McGee, our superintendent of schools. Everybody, a big round of applause. Solar?
So we hope we've planted a little seed in your hearts and minds and souls to go out and find nature everywhere. It's right there around you. Even though you're not here, we wish you were, but we're making the best of what we can do. And the other thing that came up this week for me is watching our staff, and I hope that you can see this, that every person here has a gift to give. And I hope you can see some of the traits that they're sharing, that they have, that maybe you can be like. Maybe a trait within you that's already there that you can bring out. Because they're not that much older than you. In about 10, 12 years, you could be standing up here performing and leading lessons as well. So look at these folks when you tune in next week and think, boy, I'd like to be more like that person, or that person has a really cool way of being. And go on the website and read their bios. These are some amazing people, and if you read their bios, it's something that maybe you can aspire to be like. So we're going to sing our last song, and one last word before we sing. Please be kind to each other. We need kindness right now more than anything else in the world. So be kind to your siblings, your guardians, your parents, the people around you. Show kindness. All right.
And remember, slime on! Our time has come to end. It's time to say goodbye. We've learned to care and make new friends. Share the earth and sky. It's time for new beginnings. But don't let that spirit die. Like a golden bird, the tallest tree, the waves at sea, just let your spirit fly and say goodbye. The sun hello in your goodbye. We're singing that. Just say goodbye. The sun hello in your goodbye. Just say goodbye. The sun hello in your goodbye. Just say goodbye. The sun hello in your goodbye. As a symbol of our unity, a tree will set our hearts free. The wind will blow the truth. We have come together, and like a white and rolling sea. Now we must part, but we still won't part without fond memories and say goodbye. Some hello in your goodbye. Nice and loud now. Here we go. Just say goodbye. Some hello in your goodbye. Just say goodbye. Some hello in your goodbye. Just say goodbye. Some hello in your goodbye. So let it grow. Let it grow. Let the shade spread across the land. Knowing that your destiny is at your own command. And as you go remembering back to the place where you now stand. A family, a newborn tree, a circle holding hands and say goodbye. With some hello in your goodbye. Sing it so we hear you. Just say goodbye. With some hello in your goodbye. See the big red. Just say goodbye. With some hello in your goodbye. It's our little tree. Just say goodbye. With some